You know, if you go to a live drawing session today, you would probably see a female model posing. Yes, this is very common. But for 300 years, art academies did the exact opposite. All those beautiful Venuses and Olympias and all other beautiful female figures in paintings, they were created from male models. So what happened? Why this change? I was editing my previous video about my first time live drawing, and I've noticed something very interesting. The model was female. I mean, it's not strange, it's just the way it is. And that's just the way it is almost always. And I noticed this when I'm drawing from life here in Amsterdam or in Florence, in Moscow, or in Paris. Always female model. But there's one thing that really shocked me when I started researching. Why is it? Because for 300 years, academies trained artists with male figure, with a male model. When you walk through any major museum, Rijksmuseum, Uffizi, Hermitage, you will see wall after wall covered with paintings with beautiful female forms. The message seems very clear. In Western art, the female body seems to be ideal, the standard, the subject worth of study. But that's not what happened in the studios where those artists were trained back then. Here's the paradox. In the Royal Academy of London, in the École des Beaux-Arts in Paris, in every major art academy in the world, from Renaissance through the 19th century, the male model was the ideal. Students drew exclusively male models. The academic system that produced all those famous female nudes, it trained artists by having them draw men. So what happened between the studio and the gallery wall? The reasoning was technical and classical. Male anatomy was considered more instructive. You could see the muscles, the bone structure, the mechanics of the body clearly defined. Male models could hold heroic poses for longer, and those heroic poses were the highest genre back then. Warriors, martyrs, mythological heroes. And there was a Greek tradition in classical antiquity. The male form represented the ideal human form, and the academic art was obsessed with reviving classical perfection. But there is also another reason, more, I would say, hypocritical, darker. Victorian society celebrated the female nude in art, but condemned the women who modeled for it. Female models were associated with prostitution, immorality, social disgrace, and it was considered inappropriate for women to pose nude in front of unmarried men. And women were not even admitted as students to most art academies until the 1860s. And when they finally were, they couldn't attend the drawing classes with life model because a life model was male. So they drew from plaster casts and statues, but their classmates drew from life. And this is the gender hypocrisy in the heart of academic art. Worship the female nude in painting, but stigmatize the real woman. The shift happened in the late 19th century. Once women were permitted to model professionally, there was a remarkably rapid transition. Why? Market forces. Wealthy patrons wanted female nudes in the paintings, and the art market consistently favored the depiction of a female figure in a painting, and that market pressure reshaped the whole academic system. Which brings me to artists who refused to play along with this new rule. Even within the very conservative academies, there were artists who said no, who decided not to obey the unspoken rule. And that rule is female beauty. Yeah, take for instance Gustave Caillebotte. While his fellow impressionists, Monet, Renoir, Degas, painted women in very domestic settings, Caillebotte painted his bachelor friends, male workers, muscular and with tight outfits, or men taking a bath, and he gave himself the perfect excuse. He was saying, I'm painting athletic subjects, working class realism, the same soft light, the same intimacy, everything is the same that other artists reserved for female depictions. Was Caillebotte gay? We don't know for sure. He was a lifelong bachelor, but there is a very remarkable family photograph where he is wearing female attire and he is very relaxed and happy. Or Frederic Leighton, I hope I pronounced his last name correct, Victorian England. He was painting highly sensual male nudes, and they were very close to homoerotic interpretation. Then came David Hockney, Francis Bacon. They were not hiding anymore. Hockney openly admired Beefcake magazine and painted the male figure with much desire, and Bacon painted raw, honest portraits of his lover, Peter Lacy. Other artists sometimes hid behind mythology, but sometimes they were very, very honest in their paintings. But what I like about them is that they refused to accept only one kind of body, only one kind of the beauty canon. And they refused to accept that only one kind of love can be called beautiful. So now when I sit in a life drawing session in Amsterdam and I'm drawing a female model, I'm actually participating in a relatively new tradition, one that's less than 150 years old. But I'm also participating in something much older and more complicated, a tradition where a body in front of you, whether male or female, becomes a study in light and form, where you learn to see the beauty without the filter of the market, without the pressure of what will sell. And maybe that's what those artists, those rebellious ones, understood very well. That drawing from life is not reproducing what society expects you to reproduce. It's about seeing what's actually there, the particular curve, the particular shoulder, the particular hand, male, female, or anywhere in between. And if you found my exploration interesting, I'd love to hear your thoughts in a comment. Have you noticed that pattern in museums? Do you know any other artists who challenged those traditions and conventions? And if you want to see what actually happens in a contemporary life drawing session, the awkwardness, the concentration, the frustration, and all other unfilmable experiences, check out my other video. So until next time, keep questioning what you see in museums. There's always more to the story. I'm Dmitry Ross, figurative artist in Amsterdam, and I'll see you next time. Ciao, ciao.